I'll tell you, Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 9 has a lot of details to it, just like Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 8. But we're going to get through this, so hang on just a second here. Euclid starts out by having you draw a line from point A to point B. And then he says, I want you to cut it off at C so that line AC is equal in size to CB. Okay? And then he says, I want you to pick some random point, call it D, and just plop it there. And then he goes on with the construction here. First of all, you're going to draw a perpendicular line from point C to point E. And you can do this by Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 11. Okay? Now then, he also wants you to make sure that when you draw this perpendicular line from point C to point E, that it is equal in length to either AC or CB. Now keep in mind that AC and CB are exactly the same size. So if CE equals AC, then CE is also going to equal CB. Okay? Now that's the first thing he gives to you. Now that part's easy. Now he gives you a couple of more things that are just as easy. First of all, he wants you to draw a line from point D to point F. And it has to be parallel to line CE. So DF is going to be parallel to CE. Whew. So far so good. That's another given. He's going to give you one more thing. He's wanting you to join point F to point G. And he wants you to make sure that the line between F and G here, this line right here, is parallel to AB. Well, that's okay, because that's another thing that's given. So you don't. These are all just givens here. He gave you all of this. And then he gives you one last thing. He wants you to draw a line from point F to point A. Not sure why he wants you to do that just yet, but we'll get there in a moment. Now, he's given you all of this. Now he wants you to start proving some things. First of all, he says that the angle EAC, well, where is EAC? Well, it starts here at point E, goes down to point A, goes over here to point C, and he says this angle right here is equal in size to AEC. Well, here's point A, here's point E, here's point C. So these two angles here are equal. And why is this? Because of Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 5. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back to Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 5 and learn it. Okay? But let's go on here. He also tells you that because this line CE is perpendicular to line AB, you should have known this by now, all the way back in the earliest parts of Euclid's proofs, that if two lines are perpendicular, they're going to form right angles. So ECB and ACE are 90-degree angles. Okay? And that's practically a given there. Alright, now we can also say that by Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 32, that if you were to add the number of degrees between angles EAC, which is this one here, and AEC, okay, this angle right here, if you were to add the number of degrees of this angle here and this angle here together, you would get 90 degrees, which is proven in Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 32. And so therefore, this angle right here is 45 degrees, this angle right here is also 45 degrees. And this is very important later on. Okay? Alright, now, obviously CB and CE are exactly the same size. We told you that from the very beginning. That also means that by Euclid Book 1 Proposition number 5, angle CEB, well, here's C, here's E, and here's B, this angle right here, is going to be equal in size to CBE. Well, here's C, here's B, and here's E. Okay, so these two angles here are exactly the same size. We already know that ACE is 90 degrees. We also know that ECB is 90 degrees. Okay? So, if we know that ECB is 90 degrees, we can also then therefore say, by Euclid Book 1, proposition number 32, that angle CEB, and angle CBE, if you were to add the number of degrees in this angle here and this angle here, you would have 90 degrees. That means that this angle here is 45 degrees, this angle here is 45 degrees. Now, we already know that AEC plus CEB, this angle here plus this angle here, is going to be 90 degrees. Why? Because we already said this was 45 degrees, this was also 45 degrees, so 45 plus 45 is 90 degrees. That means, at long last, that angle AEB, right here, this whole thing, is going to be 90 degrees. Wow. So far, so good. But I bet you have now come to the realization that there's going to be more than one video on this, and there definitely will be, and I will tell you more in the next video, so stay tuned.